We're talking pigeon pose today. This can be a tough one for some people, and I want to show you that there's more than one way to do it. In fact, there's 4 ways to do it, and you're not stuck with just the one your teacher tells you. Let's find out. Well, hello, I'm Morgan with Morgan Lee Yoga, and welcome to today's video. I am a yoga for weight loss coach. I create these videos to help you have a consistent home yoga practice and to learn to love your body so you can lose weight from a place of love and not hate. Today we're talking about pigeon pose. This pose is a tough one. In fact, I still struggle with it sometimes. And so I want to break it down for you and then show you 3 different ways that you can do pigeon pose to make it work for your body. Because guess what? Yoga is for everybody, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. And you need to make it adapt to work for you to get the most benefit out of it. So let's just break it down. What is pigeon pose? So pigeon pose looks like this. You're going to bring your front leg, your front knee behind your left wrist or right wrist, whichever leg you're bringing up. So left is behind left, right is behind right. And then you walk out your ankle so it's behind your right wrist. Walk your back leg back and you are here in pigeon pose. Now the thing that gets a lot of people in this pose is the hips. It takes a lot of open hips to be comfortable in this pose, and this is just not accessible for everyone. In fact, a lot of teachers teach that you need to have your front shin parallel to the top of your mat. And let me tell you a little secret. I've never even been close. So it doesn't really matter. That alignment doesn't matter. What alignment does matter in your traditional yoga pigeon pose is having your front knee on the outside of your hip. So let me turn this way so you can see a little. You want this knee to be further out than your hip, like this. So my hip's right here, my knee is further out. We don't want my knee to be stacked in a straight line with my hip because it's not really doing what it's intended to do. And that's all. You don't have to worry about getting this front shin to be parallel with the mat because it's just probably not going to happen for most people. Okay, so let's first talk about how we can change this version of pigeon to work for you. There's a couple of different ways. Number 1 is bringing in a block. So you're actually going to sit up on the block and bring your hips up higher. So walk that foot across, lay your knee down, get into this really safely here. You're going to put it on the outside hip or bum area. Find the level that works for you, walk that knee back, and find your version here. Notice how my hips are up higher. I have better alignment. I'm straight here. If we drop that block, sometimes you might find yourself rolling outward, and we really want to avoid that. So use the block to find your version. You can play around with the different heights of the block. It can be up and down. It can be like this. It can be flat. You can use 2 blocks. So play around with the version that works best for you. You can also play around with maybe bringing it back here behind your back leg instead of directly underneath your hip. Just have to see what works for you there. The next version I want to talk about
would be to do a seated pigeon pose. So swing your legs around, bring your feet flat on your mat.
Rest back on your hands, cross your leg over that knee, and find a pigeon here. This is great. I can really feel it in my hips. And if you walk in this leg closer, it gets a little bit deeper. So you have a lot of control here with how deep and how strong you're stretching that hip. So I really like it. It's a great option if you just don't like to if you can't be on your back for any reason, or if that other pigeon is just not accessible to you. You can also just lower that leg down and find a hip stretch like that. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. Pigeon pose is just about opening up our hips. So if you're in class and it's just not working for you, just find a different way to open up that hip. And this is perfectly acceptable. The last way I want to talk to you about is reclined pigeon pose. A lot of you may be familiar with this. You'll lay down on your back, cross your ankle over your knee, and then find pigeon here. So there's different variations. You can stay here, or you can lift that bottom leg, pull it in, find a little deeper stretch. You can straighten your top leg. A lot of options here. You're just gonna have to play around with it and see what feels good for you on which day. All right, that's pretty much all I had for you today. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you found a version of pigeon that will work well for you and you can use regularly in your practice. These poses don't have to seem impossible. If we use these variations to make them more accessible to us now, we will eventually get to the different levels of the poses. So be patient with yourself, practice where your body is right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.